Week 1 is here, and with that come predictions and breakdowns. There are some pivotal Week 1 matchups that, believe it or not, will have postseason implications even in Week 1. And in today's video, we are going to dive right in and break down the games, and we are going to start with the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals against the Ryan Tannehill-led Titans. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Both the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans have postseason and, for that matter, deep postseason aspirations in 2021. The Cardinals have their franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray and are expected to take the next step from just missing the postseason last year to making considerable noise this year. And while I do think the Cardinals have a solid team, there's no denying how hard of a schedule they have, and that is what happens when you play in a division as loaded as the NFC West. If there ever was a must-win Week 1, it would be a must-win for the Cardinals because they, unlike the Titans, don't have room for error. And even with all of this being said, I would not put all of my eggs in the basket of a West Coast or desert team going to the East Coast, and what is the East Coast time zone in Nashville, and stopping an offense that features Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones in Week 1. Titans 31, Cardinals 24. Justin Herbert and the Chargers travel to Chase Young and the football team for their season opener, and this is certainly going to be one of the more interesting games of Week 1. Will Justin Herbert pick up where he left off? Will he have a sophomore slump? Will Chase Young completely take over the game and let everyone know it will soon be his league and the football team has the next elite of elite pass rushers on their team? Ultimately, I do think this is one of, if not the toughest games of the week to choose because of everything that could happen. If the Chargers win and put up 30 points in the process, that really wouldn't surprise me, and if the football team wins and the defense dominates, well, simply put, that wouldn't surprise me either. I am a believer in each team, which makes picking this game so difficult, and if there is one thing we know, defense wins championships, and that was more than evident in the Super Bowl. However, I do think the Chargers watched that game more than enough times to know they have to protect their guy in order to win games, and I think they will do just enough to beat the football team on Sunday. Chargers 27, Washington 24. Tua and the Dolphins will be traveling to New England for Week 1, and this, like some of the other games we will soon discuss, is going to be a very good and very fun game to watch as an NFL fan. The Patriots cut quarterback Cam Newton, and we will soon see Mac Jones in his debut and how he does as the franchise quarterback, or the presumable franchise quarterback, for the New England Patriots. And not only that, but will Tua be the answer is a question a lot of people would like to know the answer to. While most of us expect the Bills to win the division, the Dolphins and Patriots both have legitimate postseason hopes for 2021, and this could be a deciding factor come Week 18 in January. There's also no doubt in my mind Bill Belichick wants to put 2020 as far behind him in the rearview mirror as possible, and he wants to show everyone that 2020 was a fluke, and they are not going to be a 7-9 team continuously without Tom Brady on their team. I would also expect Bill to make it as difficult of a day as possible for the young quarterback in Tua, and with the Patriots being the home team in this game, give me New England over Miami 21-17. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will be heading to Jacksonville to play the Saints in what will be Jameis Winston's first start as the quarterback for New Orleans. Now, even with left tackle David Bakhtiari being out for the first 6 weeks of the season, I do expect Green Bay to win this game because I do think they are a better team than the Saints. Now, I am not saying New Orleans is 100% doomed and they might as well not even play this game because I do believe they have a good defense and several good players that will keep them in the game. I'm just not the biggest Jameis Winston can beat Aaron Rodgers believer at this point in time. And for what it's worth, Alvin Kamara should run the ball like we have never seen before, and that belief only strengthens with the release of running back Latavius Murray. So while Sean Payton is a great play caller and a great head coach, I mean, he is a former Super Bowl champion, I do think for the first time in his tenure, we will see a more running-oriented offense in the Big Easy than we ever have before. However, I would not bet against Aaron Rodgers and what we have seen on social media be declared the last dance. Packers 28, Saints 20. Next is the Broncos and Giants, and despite these teams not necessarily being recognized or constantly praised by the national media, I genuinely do think this will be one of the closest games in all of Week 1. I don't think a Teddy Bridgewater-led team will go into the Big Apple or East Rutherford, New Jersey, if you want to be particular, and beat the Giants dominantly, or not by double digits is what I mean by this. Both of these teams entering Week 1 could very much be considered sleepers and dark horses of their respective conferences, and rightfully so. Daniel Jones is the true question mark surrounding the Giants team, but with the offensive help he has around him, surely he can succeed or at least not be horrific with this type of help. And the Broncos team will definitely be one to keep an eye on throughout entire 2021. This game is certainly not easy to pick, but with knowing what type of player Teddy Bridgewater is, I am more confident in him at the quarterback position than I am Daniel Jones at this point in time. And because of that, Broncos in a very close one, 23-20. Now we have arrived in Kansas City to discuss the Browns and Chiefs. The last time these teams squared off was back in January, and since then both teams have considerably improved. This is without a doubt the premier game of Week 1, and it's going to have some very high, even for NFL standards, ratings. Time and time again, we have seen Patrick Mahomes step up to the occasion and answer every critic's question in the regular season when the Chiefs have played elite teams. And by the way, this is not a knack on him in the postseason either. He has just 2 postseason losses, and both are to the GOAT Tom Brady, so no shame there. Anyways, think back to 2019 for a second when they went to New England and won, and all they've done since Lamar Jackson has entered the league is go 3-0 against the Ravens. They also went into both New Orleans and Tampa in the regular season last year and won both of these games. Now, if you want to nitpick and say the 2018 Monday night game against the Rams, they lost, and find other games like the 2020 game against the Raiders, for example, yes, you can find those games, but most of the time against the elite of the elite, Patrick and the Chiefs have come through. And while I do think the Browns are in for a very fun 2021 season, I do have the Chiefs starting out 1-0. Chiefs 34, Browns 31. Before we move on to the final 2 games, Browns fans, I want to clarify I 100% think you guys can win, but I am not betting against the Chiefs in their stadium, coming off of the most recent loss they sustained, which as we know was a 22-point blowout in Super Bowl 55. Now we head to the Sunday night game, which of course will be in LA, and which we expect at some point to be the debut of Bears first round pick Justin Fields. Whether he will start or not is another thing, but we for sure expect him to at least take some snaps at some point. But we know for sure it will be the debut in LA for Rams quarterback and veteran Matthew Stafford. Ultimately, with these teams being in 2 different stages, one being by definition in win-now mode, and the other not exactly being in win-now mode, combined with the location being in LA, I do think the Rams will win. It will be interesting to see what Matt Nagy has cooked up his sleeves and what we can see from the Bears in 2021, and really, if he starts to play bad, how short of a leash they will have on Andy Dalton. Of course, we know the Rams defense is good, and we know their defensive tackle is pretty good, and he can disrupt an entire game, and they also have a pretty good corner in his own rights too. So can those 2 alone, obviously they have a whole defense behind them, but can they make Andy Dalton, if he starts, get out of the game? In football, most of the time the better team wins, and the Rams on paper are better than the Bears. I do love the quartet of the future in Fields, Montgomery, Robinson, and Cole Kmet, but I don't think right now these guys are enough to defeat the Rams in LA. Rams 24, Bears 16. And the final game of the week is the Ravens at the Raiders on Monday Night Football, which in theory should be a good close game. Baltimore the last 3 years has absolutely dominated Week 1, and it started in 2018 with a killing of the Bills, followed by 2019 with the Dolphins in which they won 59-10, and last year when they utterly destroyed the Browns. However, I do think their Week 1 dominance will be coming to an end, at least in the sense of winning by 30 plus points like they have each of the last 3 years. Could they win and beat Vegas? Yes, I 100% believe that they could, but I don't think a 30 plus point win will happen for the Ravens. Now, for the Raiders, it will be interesting to see how they fare in 2021, as the Raiders fan base expects them to take the next step under John Gruden, but one thing I do worry about for them is their defense. I realize they have been addressing the defense over the past couple of off seasons, but I still think they have to improve on on that side of the ball to consistently win games and to be a perennial playoff team. Ultimately, they will have a very tough time stopping Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and I do have Baltimore winning in a close one to start the year, 30-23. Now, with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and at this time, if you are still watching, I ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and until next time, have a great day. I can't begin to tell you guys how excited I am that football is back. Now, by the way, I have partnered with a company in terms of promotion, so we will be seeing that in the community tab. It is very cool. It is basically picking what players will do, and if you use my code, there is a free entry, and you could potentially win $20,000. So we will be seeing that in the community tab. Anyways, now until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.